I go to class to make mistakes. That's what class is for. And we just say go to class and we assume they know what's happening when they go to the class. Stop going to class with no water. Stop showing up anywhere with no water, expecting to dance with no water. When you start going across the floor, what foot do you start on? And what do you think you're going to do next? Exactly. Warm up. We're not going to hit splits. We need to get into a real hip hop class, not a hip hop class that's kind of like jazz, not a hip hop class that's might be majorette. So you just have to be engaged fully with your whole body, brain included. We have to learn to value the warm up. We can't say we love to dance, but we don't love to warm up. That means you don't love your body. You don't love yourself. Jazz shoes are not outside shoes. It's class. It's class. It's class. We're talking about class. Welcome to the Major Business Podcast, where we talk all things HBCU slash Majorette, from strategy, structure, leadership, performance, and training. And today, and as always, I am your host, Vershion Lee. And listen, I have a very near and dear to my heart topic that I think we should discuss. All right. Y'all ready? Okay. Well, let's get right into it because it's just us again. So, I do want to talk today about class. It is summertime, and in the summertime, we should, as a part of a dance line or a supporter, funder, um, band director, auxiliary, sponsor, coach, we should be encouraging the kids to go take a class this summer. And so the summer is all about training. This is training season. Whether they're training with your team, they're training at a studio, they're training. That is the primary goal of the summertime. I went to a class and I knew everything there. That's why I didn't go back. Said no one ever. So how about this summer? Okay. Come on and get some of this summer training. Technique lab is going on every Tuesday and Thursday in Stockbridge, Georgia, at Eagles Landing Dance Center. Listen, from 6 to 8:30, we're offering ballet, jazz technique, jazz funk. Okay. You get a little choreography, some skills, have a little fun, interact with other girls. Okay. Come and get some of this training. Get prepared for the season. But listen, people keep talking about, ooh, train, technique, but they're not telling you where to go. So I'm inviting you out, okay? And if you can't make it, guess what? We got some online classes. So we're offering all of this. You can register at choreo.com, choreo.com. It is a training season. In this training season, we should have a goal of each person, each dancer should have a goal. So coaches, this is your job to sit down with each of your dancers to figure out what they all personally, you're going to give personal feedback to each dancer to let them know what they need to work on, what your expectations are for the season. And so that way they have specifics. I know coaches that are giving full plans, as in, these are the instructors you need to see. These are the places that you should go. Just giving suggestions for what's in the city, but something along those lines. If they have the opportunity or can go away, that would be great as well. Just again, you should be encouraging the girls and guys to participate in some form of training, whether it's at your school or somewhere. Aside from that, we should not be encouraging them to only do dance line. We have to remember that there are other skills, and if they want to take this past high school or your community team, then they would need to have additional skills in their toolbox, right? So if we want them to have additional skills in their toolbox so they can just go, they can be prepared to go anywhere, then we need to be encouraging them to get into some technical classes and all of the classes that we always talk about, right? We always give a list of all the classes. People that I've interviewed have talked about the classes that the kids should be taking. I'm going to name the classes here so that we are aware and refreshed, reminded of what we should be taking. Okay. Now, coaches, chime in if you have additional suggestions. But in addition to your already scheduled program at your schools or your studios for your community teams, you should be encouraging them to take other classes. Okay, so that we're clear, and I'm going to list the classes. So we're talking about ballet, jazz, other technical classes could include modern, contemporary. We're gonna also get into something like hip hop, okay? So that we're building more versatile, well-rounded dancers. So we need to get into a real hip hop class, not a hip hop class that's kind of like jazz, not a hip hop class that's might be majorette. We're talking about a hip hop class, like a street hip hop, something you'll see commercial hip hop that you would see on TV. Okay. All right. So, and there are others, but those are just a few off the top of my head. So yes, we are encouraging the girls, the guys, the dance line girlies, the majorette girlies to go and get into classes. Summer, it is training season. With that said, what should we be doing when we go to these classes and how do we need to be prepared? That's a very real conversation that we need to have because I taught high school. Listen, I already know. And in my class, I literally had to build my class like outside, like if they were to go into a studio outside of my class, like to a professional class outside of my classroom. So everything in my room was based around you can take these same principles that happen in here to another workshop or class and you can still be successful there. There are things that we have to teach that are not in a book or usually said, right? We just say go to class and we assume they know what's happening when they go to the class. So that's what we're going to talk about. So with that, when we're going to class, okay, before we show up to the class, we really need to be talking about, well, we need to be researching the actual instructor. A friend of mine and I were having a conversation today, and dancers are saying, I'm going to so and so's class, but they don't know so and so last name. They don't have any other affiliation with so and so. They just said they're going to say, I'm going to take Ashley's class. Ashley who? I don't know. What? Okay. So we first need to know what class we're going to and who this person is. You should know about the person that you're going to take class from. It matters. It matters because you need to have an expectation of what you're going to learn when you get to Ashley's class, right? You need to have seen what they do in Ashley's class. You need to, if it's something unfamiliar, you need to get excited about that. Get comfortable with being uncomfortable. You're going to go into a territory, throw yourself into this unfamiliar place, and get to going. Get to going, right? You're going to act like you belong because you do. All right. So you need to know, have an expectation of what's going to happen in this class. You need to know who the person is, who they're affiliated with, what they've done. Do your research, do your homework. Okay, so that's the first part of going to class. When you get to the class, obviously you're gonna know the location. You need to know what time it start. You need to be aware if there's gonna be traffic in that direction during that time of day. Those are usual things that you would do if you're going anywhere. So we don't need to talk about that. But we do need to talk about the part where you're going to be on time. Okay. If you've never been to this place, give yourself time to get lost, possibly, or to find a parking space because it might be jumping. If Ash's class is popping, everybody want to be in there too. So you need to be early in order to get the things necessary done. So okay, you go straight there. Cool. You got a little extra time, but when you get in there and it's your first time, you might have to complete some sort of waiver or additional paperwork that you weren't expecting to do. Okay? Because these things happen at studios for classes or workshops or whatever, right? So we want to make sure, and they want to make sure they're protected. So you want to make sure that you are they're in time to handle business and you can get to class. You don't want to go in there rushing. Now you pull up, class start at 7, you pull up at 7, and you don't get into the class until 7:15, 7:20. That's not their fault that you had to complete said thing. Now, usually there's some sort of literature in the process of registering for the class, which is why we also should register in advance. There's some literature usually, or some text that you should read that will tell you that you're going to have to do the things necessary once you get inside. But in case that did not happen, expect that and just be early. And to be early is to be on time anyway. Okay. So when we arrive, in our bags, we should have, you know, all our shoes, every pair of dance shoes that we own, including sneakers, heels, possibly if you're in high school, jazz shoes. You're not gonna wear your jazz shoes from the street into the studio because jazz shoes are to be worn inside. If you look at the bottom, you can tell they're to be worn inside. It's not a hard. There's no hard sole or hard bottom to a jazz shoe. So I don't care if you wear some slides in there, you're gonna put the jazz shoes on inside. They're not outside shoes. Let's just be clear already about that. Jazz shoes are not outside shoes. So you're not gonna wear them from the car into the studio. You're gonna wear your flip-flops or something of that sort. Sneakers, for all I care. But you're gonna change your shoes inside. So I would start with a jazz shoe. If it's a ballet class, obviously you wouldn't wear a jazz shoe. You would, if you don't have ballet shoes, I wouldn't go buy ballet shoes for the summer. If you can, sure. But if not, I wouldn't worry about that. I would just go in there barefoot and do my thing. I would not wear socks because you will slip. That's a safety hazard. But if it is a jazz class, I would definitely put on my jazz shoes. So yeah, if it's a hip hop class, I would not wear jazz shoes, but if that's the only shoes I have, I would. I would not wear socks in a hip hop class. No one would even let you take a hip hop class wearing socks. Also, I would not take a hip hop class wearing Crocs or any shoe that's not a sneaker that does not have a closed toe and a closed heel. All right, so we're prepared. Also, we're gonna have some sort of wipe. We're gonna have some spray deodorant or some kind of deodorant. We're gonna have some kind of, of course, sanitary napkins or something just in case, right? We gotta always have that just in case. We're gonna have some water. Goodness, we're gonna have some water. Stop going to class with no water. Stop showing up anywhere with no water. It's expecting to dance with no water. Okay, that's crazy. Um, it's also not responsible, especially if we're again teenagers, we're in high school, you know, we got to start doing something different in order to get a different result, right? So, this is me holding your hand, letting you know these are the things that we need to do. Okay, let's do it. So you have that. These are the things that you're going to carry in your bag when you arrive to the class. You go in the class, and if you are on time, hopefully, you're going to, of course, place your bag where it needs to go. You will obviously see if there's a cubby or something. If there's no cubby, just kind of sit it off to the side, put your jazz shoes on. And what do you think you're going to do next? Exactly. Warm up. We're not gonna hit splits, okay? We're not gonna start stretching. We're gonna do some sort form of cardio, something to get your body warm, and then you may start stretching. I would warm up about 5 minutes, okay? A little something. And then I wouldn't do any hardcore stretches because you should expect to do that with your teacher, but you're doing something productive to prepare your body for what's to come. And if you are not sure what's about to happen, guess what I said at first? You should already know. So let's just again be prepared. So you already know what to expect, right? You've already seen the class and for the sort of footage from the class, you already know what to expect. So you just be doing something again productive to prepare your body because all bodies are different. Something to prepare your body for what this instructor is going to give you. All right, class has started. You're going to make your way to the front if you're not already warming up or stretching in the front. We're not in the back because A, you can't see, especially if it's going to be packed. You can't see. B, if it's your first time or it's close to it, you need to be in the front so you can see. I wouldn't worry about being embarrassed because really, like, that's what class is for. We're all here to learn, right? Now, if you're in a class that's not on your level, if you're in an advanced class and you're not advanced, then that's where we need to have what we need to have the conversation about. Now, so we should be doing that. If we're in a beginner class and we are beginner, everybody in here, I would assume is beginner. I mean, shoot. Otherwise, they shouldn't be in here. So I'm here to learn. Y'all should be here to learn. So I'm in here to make mistakes. I go to class to make mistakes. That's what class is for. You're in the class, you're doing the things. Okay. Whatever they're asking you to do. If you happen to be unfamiliar with anything they say or do, then you're going to raise your hand. You are not going to be folding your arms. You're not going to be putting your hands on your hips. Some instructors deem that disrespectful. So you won't be doing those things. Would it be difficult for you to remember to not do those things? Absolutely. But you're looking in the mirror in class. So you're just going to be aware. Okay. Be aware of what you're doing. Also, when you're looking in the mirror, look at yourself. I notice when teaching teenagers, they're not looking at themselves. I'm assuming they're looking at other people. I don't know what they're looking at, but they're not looking at themselves. So I would encourage you to look at yourself. Watch what you are doing. If you're at the bar, you happen to be taking a ballet class, you're going to be standing at the bar closest to the front so you can see yourself. And your whatever notes they're giving, the lines and the things that they're looking for you to do, you're going to make sure you're doing those things as they're telling you to do it. You're going to do your best. It's not going to be perfect. That's okay. No instructor is expecting you to come in and be perfect. Not a single one. Every instructor should be prepared to give a push. Usually we're going to teach to the person in the room that's I would say furthest along. We're going to teach up, not going to teach down. And everyone in the class is going to rise to that occasion. And then we'll do some differentiation as we see fit. Okay. We'll manipulate a couple things and we'll make some provisions as we go along. But we're going to teach to the highest level of the person in the room. Okay. Now, it's built that way to make the class challenging. If you walk away and the class was easy, that was a waste of money and time. So it should not be easy, but it also should be on level. So if it was supposed to be beginner, it should still be beginner steps, but there may be a twist. Perhaps instead of now we have these beginner steps, we may do them a little faster, right? So our in our allegro, right, we may do more jumps, more, like, faster movement, right? Not just some, Aisha pays or whatever. We're going to give more difficult vocabulary, and we're going to kind of push the envelope just a little bit. Or change directions, give some different directions, but same beginner steps. Okay, this so again, if though you are advanced and you're going to an intermediate or advanced class or whatever you believe your level should be, then again there's going to be another push there. Okay, so the vocabulary itself should match the actual class. Again, then there are some additional skills that can be implemented throughout the class that will make the class more challenging, especially as the instructors start to see fit, right? As they start to see, oh, I can see, oh, we can do a little bit more. Let me add this, right? So we can make adjustments along the way based on the dancers that are in the room. But again, you have to be mindful that when you don't know something, They know that you don't know it because they are seeing that you're struggling. So they're coming over, they're giving you notes and they're, little things like that. Just be willing to take the notes. That's really the I think that's the biggest struggle as an instructor when you're giving notes and they're not applying the notes. I think that's where it's kind of like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything else. Do what you want to do in here. So yeah, let's just, so I just want us to kind of understand what's happening when we go into the class. There may be times where you might have to change roles. There are a lot of people in there. So again, if you start in the front, then you may end up in the back because they may say, hey, the back, front go to the back. That means the front does go to the back. Don't scoop to the middle. You go to the back. They're going to change again, okay? But the front goes to the back, the middle goes to the front, the back goes to the middle. And that's how we rotate the class, okay? So just be aware that these things do happen. We don't like when you're in the front and you just move to the middle. That's kind of like you don't see anybody else in this class, it's kind of not fair. So, and you don't want to be called out. So just now as you know, just follow suit. Okay. They'll probably rotate it again and you'll end up in the middle. But yeah. So just follow along. Let's talk about groups. Well, before we get to groups, let's talk about going across the floor. So there should be some section, I don't care what class it is, of progressions or something across the floor. Fun times. Fun times. All the kids always love this portion of class, but there's very little investment sometimes in the very beginning, like in the warm up. So let's also make sure we're invested and that we're actually pushing ourselves in the warm up. We have to learn to value the warm up. We can't say we love to dance, but we don't love to warm up. That means you don't love your body. You don't love yourself. You won't have a sustainable time dancing or a sustainable career in dance or a sustainable stint of time in dance without keeping your body in shape. And so you are going to have to push yourself in the warm up because the warm up also informs the teacher if you're prepared to do the next part. Your body also will be informing you if you're going to be able to do the next thing. So don't disengage for the warm up and then whack your leg up when it's time to go across the floor. As a teacher, I don't even see it. I saw you being lazy earlier. So, girl, I do not care how high your leg is now. I didn't see you were super lazy on the jumping jacks or whatever the situation was. We're not blind. Okay. So just FYI, pay attention, be aware that we see the whole room. We see all the things. So yeah, yeah. Let's go ahead and make sure we're doing the things. So we're doing the progressions and um there are lines. Okay. So the teachers say you're gonna make I want three across going across. Sometimes they won't be putting you in spots because you're not babies, right? So they won't be putting you in spots. They're gonna say, I want three. If there's two and it's not three, you jump in the spot and you go across the floor. Period. That's what you do. If there's two and there's not one, we're going off because we want three. Okay? We want three. So just keep that in mind that the teacher are saying things that they want to happen in the class for a reason. And now you're holding my class up because I have like a natural progression of how I want my class to flow. And it's not flowing if I'm asking y'all to do things and you're not doing them. So you be the one. You be the one to get on up in there. Okay. If they're supposed to be three, they want five. You make it happen. Okay. All right. Now, moving on. Y'all go across the floor. It's going to be every 8. Okay. These things should already be happening in practice. But anyway, it's every 8. So they do the count, whatever, they do the combo. and then the next group is going to start. Assume that it's going to be every 8. If they don't want it to be, if they don't want you to start every 8 counts, then you just start when they tell you to start. So perhaps they may say, "Oh, this is, the say the combo that they're teaching to go across the floor is a 16, right? 32, whatever." And the instructor says, "Well, I want this to be, just y'all start when this combo finish." Well, then you start when the combo finish. Okay, so you have to be listening. Now, this is the part. This is where it gets interesting. When you start going across the floor, what foot do you start on? Hmm? When you first start going across the floor, you're gonna do the combo from one side to the other, or whatever the skill is. You're gonna do it from one side to the other. What foot do you start on first? On the first side. All right. It's a little tricky. You're gonna start on the right. Okay. Actually, it's not tricky. It's just for some of us, we don't know. Okay. That's what we're here for. That's why we're here today. You're gonna start on that right foot. When you get to the other side, now you need to start the combo on your left foot. Well, what happens is we do the combo on the right foot and we get over there and we act like we don't have to come back on the left foot. Like it's not going to happen. Like nobody's going to ask you to do that. But in actuality, it's an expectation that you're going to come back on the left side. Well, if you're standing over there lollygagging, staring off into space, then your turn is going to come. And now you're really going to look a fool because you did not apply the combo on the right to the left. Okay. So what we need to do when we get to the other side is to mark the combo to make sure we know what's happening on the left side, because depending on the step, we may have to flip flop. Okay, so we're going to change directions a little bit. We might now be rolling on the left hip and not the right hip. We might now be leaping on the left foot, not the right foot, or the opposite. Things may be different. So we just need to make sure. There are some times where combos alternate sides, which is great. You're just going to repeat what you already did. You're just going to start on the left. But oftentimes that's not the case. So you have to apply everything you did on the right to the left. So just be prepared. Don't be a deer in headlights when they say start on the left. Also, don't start on the right when you're supposed to be on the left. Because now you're just doing what you want to do. That's not what we're doing. So, again, keep that in mind. Okay, y'all understand that? All right. So, we're going across the floor. We understand how across the floor works. Okay. Last part about this, if you are at the end, which we should not be, but somebody got to be at the end, right? If you happen to be at the end going across the floor, say if there are rows of, there are 3, they want 3 going across, but there are 4 of you. You are not going by yourself. This last group is going to be 4. So where that middle line would be, y'all are going to split. 2 are going to split one, and then the other 2 are going to be where those outside 2 rows were. So you're gonna go with the last row. You're not gonna go alone because now you're wasting our time. Okay. We're trying to get the class going. Again, we have a particular flow we like for how our classes to go. And we understand how many people we have in the class. We know how much time we need to do. We know all the things, and we have everything in our heads or sometimes written down in our tablets or whatever, on our iPads or wherever we have the notes. But you're wasting our time by doing a solo. So we're not doing solos. Unless they say you're gonna go by yourself, then you go by yourself. But don't assume that you're going by yourself. Don't make it a solo. Don't do it. Don't be that person. So we're done going across the floor. We're gonna go into some center floor work. Okay. Now, if we're doing some center floor work, I don't care if it's ballet, jazz, hip hop, whatever. When you're doing the center floor work, usually, well, sometimes you start off with something slow. Then you might go into something faster, depending on the class, okay? Depending on the class and the teacher, that might be a little way they might, have the class go. If there's a jazz class, this may be where they give you some sort of combo. I don't know. The combo may be fast, it may be slow. Also, when they start teaching a combo, if there is a combo, which perhaps it might be, and in ballet there's a combo as well. It's not called a combo. It's gonna be your adagio or your allegro. It's still a combo, but all the same. When you're doing that, make sure you know the counts. Make sure you know the facings. Make sure you understand the pathways that you're going to be traveling. It's a lot to understand. And again, if it's your first time, first couple times, you may be a little confused. It's okay. The teacher is aware, fully aware. They knew from the first step that this has to be your first time. So they are fully aware that you're going to need a little bit more assistance than others. Cool. Cool. So, you know, feel free to maybe not ask a bunch of questions, but if there's time where they say, okay, go ahead and work on that on your own or work through it, then that may be a good time to then ask, hey, okay, excuse me, so and so, this part right here, and then they'll give you some sort of like modification to the step, possibly, or, something that you can do for that time to make sure you can make the same counts that everybody else is making. Like for instance, if there's a double pirouette and you can only do a single, then they may say do a single, which you can do a single slowly and hold and still make it the same counts as the double. So they may give you some sort of accommodation or whatnot for the step. But do not shy away from not going to the class because you can't do the things, because you'll never be able to do the things that you don't ever do, right? Like they say, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. This applies. Okay. So class is going, you're doing the combo, you're doing the things. And so now it's time to perform the things. So there's groups. So in the groups, you want to make sure that you are, because some people are going to go away, some people are going to stay for the first group. Sometimes they may draw a line down the middle and say left to the left is the first group, to the right is the second group, or to the left is group one and to the right is group two. But sometimes group two might be group one, meaning group two might go first. You still group two, but you might go first. So be listening, because we like to switch things up to keep your mind going as well. So you just have to be engaged fully with your whole body, brain included. So you're now in the groups. It's your time to perform. You're not in the back. Okay. You want to try the middle, the front. If you don't fully know it, you know that you probably need to watch somebody, which I wouldn't make that a habit to be watching people. That's a really bad habit. Okay. But if you know that you might need a little assistance, you might need to use your peripheral just a little bit, then you want to try to get in the middle, but you kind of don't want to be in the back. Okay, because you do want to be seen, because sometimes it's not about being perfect for an instructor. They just want to see your heart. They want to see how far you're willing to go. You never know what opportunities that these instructors may have, the rooms that you're walking into. You never know what is available there. It could be someone in class, like, I really love how you did X, Y, and Z. So you just go in there, you push yourself, and then, be a good sport about it. If you fall, if you mess up, there's nothing to be embarrassed about. You just, keep smiling, you get up, you keep going, and then you go off. You don't beat yourself up about it. It's not that serious. It's class. It's class. It's class. We're talking about class. So that's what we're doing when it's time to perform. But you don't want, depending on the situation, especially you just in any situation. Again, you never know what opportunities are available for you at any place. So you want to make sure that they've seen you already. You don't want the combo time to be the groups to be the first time that they even saw that you were in class. You can't hide in the back and tiptoe around and not be talking to people. And then when it's time to do or be seen, I should say. And then when it's time to do the combination and you are amazing, whether you mess up or not, they can tell there's potential, right? So you're amazing. Then they're like, "Oh my gosh, where have you been all class?" That's if someone ever says that, that's like, ooh, that's kind of shady. But at the same time, where were you though? You know? So you just don't want that to be the thing. You want them to look forward to seeing you. They've been seeing you on class, and I can't wait until it's time to do this combo because I can't wait to see what she's gonna do. I can't wait to see what he's gonna do. Like that's now exciting for us because like, oh, this is gonna be good. Not like, oh, type of thing. So I wanted us to have this conversation again, A, because I've worked with teenagers for a long time. B, because I've worked with teenagers, parents usually don't know what's happening and they come to the instructor or the coach, right, for asking for resources and looking for things or tips or notes, whatever. Just be mindful that again, it's training season. And if you don't get it done this summer, it's very difficult to get it done during the year. From a coach perspective, it's really difficult because the games are every week. So we're usually working on the choreography, any adjustments we're making to the choreography, we just rarely get a chance to actually work on skills or anything like that. Now, towards the end of the season, when it's not so hot, in terms of like, we're at this point now we're on autopilot because we've been running the same dances or, doing the same choreography on the field. Then, yes, then we, can do more fun things or we have more time or whatever. So I can then insert more skills and, more of this and more of that, but the summertime is where you really have the time and you're able to mentally fully engage. During the school year, your mind is divided because you're also in school, lots more social things happening that play major parts into how you perform and practice. There's a lot more things that we as coaches are competing with. So it's easier for you to get these things done during the summer. This is a very critical time. Take advantage of the time. If you have to be in a different state and you don't know what's there, you're going to grandma's house, whatever, reach out. We are a resource for you. Okay. You want to make sure you hit me up, choreo you dance, to find out what you should be doing, where you should be going, if you're in a different place or even in your own town and you're not sure exactly where to go and what's quality. Okay. Quality over quantity is best. If you can't afford 50 of them classes, cool. The few you go to need to be great, amazing, very interactive, very like, they're going to be on you. If you it cuz a free classes are few and far in between and sometimes they're just not all that great. So you do need to do some checks and balances on the classes that you're going to because they may not count, okay? Um but I guess last thing I want to say about class is the end of class. That's also a very important time really quick before we hop off. At the end of class, you want to say thank you to the teacher. That is very important. You don't just pack up and walk out. You don't do that. You don't do that again because you don't know who's in the space. It is polite, it is customary for dancers to say thank you. In ballet, there's like, some reverence, whole situation that happens. And if the teacher doesn't facilitate that, then you may curtsy at the end and say thank you. When you go up to the teacher, do your little curtsy and or, young men, you might do a little bow, whatever, and you say thank you. Simple. You don't have to chit chat or anything, but you say thank you and you grab your bag. You talk to other people, you network with people. Hey, what class are y'all going to next? What classes have you been to this summer? Things like that. When you don't do that and you just walk out, it's not like we're upset as a teacher. We're not mad, but sometimes there are people that are there that we're like, "Oh my goodness, they were good. I need to talk to them." But we get held up because somebody comes to talk to us. And then when it's time to go, I don't even know who you were. I may never see you again. And not only did you miss out on an opportunity, but I'm a little sad because I really wish I got to at least know your name. Now in class I may ask the name, but now I want to know a little bit more. Hey, where does your background? Where do you dance? Where do you like I want to know more because I have more to say or to give you. But you miss out on that if you just grab your things and walk the hell up out of there. Don't do that. I went to a class and I knew everything there. That's why I didn't go back. Said no one ever. So how about this summer? Okay, come on and get some of this summer training. Technique lab is going on every Tuesday and Thursday in Stockbridge, Georgia, at Eagles Landing Dance Center. Listen, from 6 to 8:30, we're offering ballet, jazz technique, jazz funk. Okay, you get a little choreography, some skills, have a little fun, interact with other girls. Okay, come and get some of this training. Get prepared for the season. But listen, people keep talking about, ooh, train, technique. But they're not telling you where to go. So I'm inviting you out, okay? And if you can't make it, guess what? We got some online classes. So we're offering all of this. You can register at choreo.com. Choreo.com. So, but yeah, yeah. I feel like it was important that we have this conversation. Um, don't take a class if you have not run it by your coach. This conversation is primarily for Danceline girlies, Majorette girlies that are again, training. So this conversation is primarily for you all, but this really applies to anybody that's going to class. But my reference to coaches and things like that that's because I'm mainly talking to those girls or guys. So again, y'all, don't be out here lost. I just gave you all the things you need to know about going to class. You can apply those things to a workshop as well. I'm almost positive I may have left out a thing or two. We didn't talk about attire, but look it up because if you've already seen what the person is teaching and what the expectations are in their class, then you should already know what to wear because you already seen what the people doing in the class. But if you don't know what to wear to a ballet class, you look it up and make sure you have your things. If you don't know what to wear to a jazz class, I can tell you now, it's gonna be all black. A modern class, all black. Um, but sometimes, you might do a pop of color top or something like that. You might give yourself a little zhuzh, like you might do a little one shoulder situation. Not if you got but you want to do like a little one shoulder, crop, or you might want to do a color leotard and some shorts, or you might want to do a color unitard, pants or a little short situation, something. Just be ready. Just go in there and be ready. Your hair, you want to make sure that hair is pulled back off your face though. For jazz, you might do your little ponytail. Ballet, you want to have your little bun, So have your hair tie and stuff like that in your bag so you can do the things that you need to do. But yeah, if it's a hip hop class, you're not gonna wear leotards and tights. You probably don't want to wear anything kind of fitted. You might can do like a legging and a big shirt or a legging and a crop. It just kind of really depends. But if you're kind of new to hip hop, you want to make sure you wear something that's going to allow you to kind of feel like you're in a hip hop class. You don't want to feel like you're in ballet or feel like you're in jazz. You need to be present like where you are. You're not going to be at the beach wearing basketball shorts, right? So you just need to make sure what you're wearing is applicable to the class that you're in. And again, if you don't know, kind of look that up. But again, I'm pretty sure I'm leaving out some things, but y'all drop them in the comments below. But this is a running start. This is a running start for those that have not been to classes or are looking to get into more classes. But we got to start somewhere. Okay. So again, if you need resources, you know where to hit us up. Choreo You Dance, which is Choreo, the letter You Dance, on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. And then you have Major Business Pod, which is Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. Okay. Hit me up. Y'all know I'm Vershion Lee. And yeah, hold my hand. Hold my hand. And make sure you promise that you're gonna go in class and handle business. Okay? Promise. All right. We're gonna lock up our pinkies. I want to see you in class handling business. Don't let me walk in and y'all in there looking crazy. Okay? All right. Well, love y'all and have great class this summer. Looking forward to the season to see what happens. All right. But let me know what classes y'all taking. Maybe we can share with each other.